Hi, I'm Candace Southall, and I'm here to share with you some information on self-determination and give you some ideas and strategies so that you may support and enhance the self-determination in the lives of people that you work with. Let's start here. Historically, many individuals with disabilities have been denied their right to self-determination. They just simply weren't given the opportunity or the supports they needed to make choices and decisions about important aspects of their lives. They were so often overprotected, segregated, without being able to make decisions on their own. For many, the absence of risk and opportunities to make choices on their own impeded them from exercising their own self-determination. And it has inhibited them in their ability to contribute as a valued member of society. So we want our students to grow in their self-determination and live lives making some choices on their own. I can talk to you a little bit about normalization. The normalization principle suggests that if the living conditions and the lives available to all people are also afforded to people who have disabilities, then those people will be more accepted and seen. Let's think about what are highly valued goals in our society. Making choices, taking risks, having control over your outcomes, and assuming responsibility for your actions, whether they turn out good or not so good. That's just life. And being self-determined means acting as a causal agent in your own life. Being a person who can make or cause things to happen in their own life. So where do we begin with self-determination? I want to start by talking a little bit about attribution theory. Attribution theory explains how someone perceives and uses information to arrive at a causal explanation for events. It examines what information is gathered and how it's combined to form a causal judgment. Michael Waymire, who is a leading expert in self-determination for people with disabilities, he particularly has studied people with intellectual disabilities and their self-determination, assessment, and programming to support them. But he originally defines self-determination as acting as the primary causal agent in one's life and making choices and decisions regarding one's quality of life free from undue external influence or interference. So you can see that even at the earliest stage of the application of the self-determination construct to the field of special education, it was by definition linked to quality of life. There are many skills a person needs to acquire so that they can lead a happy and quality life. One that is most helpful is that of self-determination. What is involved with self-determination? The opportunity to make choices, making a decision when given no choice, but just knowing all of the options or knowing yourself enough to say, this is what's going to happen here. Problem solving, goal setting and attainment, being able to self-manage, self-reflect, self-evaluate, and of course self-advocating for your needs. And all of this really is going to boil down to self-awareness. Do we know what we want to do? Are we taking agency and making decisions that are best to meet my own goal? And do I believe I can do it? Now notice, when I speak of having self-determination skills with examples of some of our internal thoughts and things that we think and say to ourselves as we go through that process, that I'm using first-person language. This is done intentionally, and I want you to consider that when we work with our students and our friends on their self-determination, that we aren't telling them how to be self-determined. We're not telling them what to do to be self-determined, that we are modeling how to be self-determination, how to be self-determined. So we will speak in first person, and we expect them to think about their self-determination, think about their goals, think about their problem solving, speaking in first person. Does that make sense? Because when I move forward here, I want to talk about how we might be setting goals and preparing students to be more self-determined. And I'm going to give you a few resources to look into as you think about how you want to implement this for your friends. Why do we target self-determination skills? Well, self-determination skills have been correlated to better organization and productivity, correlated to better post-school quality of life and academic skills. Even when taking cognitive ability out of the equation, self-determination leads to better outcomes for the individual. Self-determination skills are important for increasing independence as one approaches adulthood, and many of these skills are naturally acquired over time through our general education and personal experiences. However, for individuals with disabilities, whether they're developmental disabilities, communication differences, these skills often need to be explicitly introduced to increase success in adulthood. Oftentimes, classroom teachers, speech and language pathologists, occupational therapists, and transition skills instructors address these skill areas within the academics or on-the-job training setting. Self-determination instruction has been shown to be predictive of positive post-secondary outcomes in the areas education, employment, and independent living. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound like what we focus on when we are making meaningful transition plans with our students? We want individuals to have strong self-determination skills so that they may be more successful in post-secondary education, attaining jobs, and living on their own. Now, how do we support our learners and students reaching higher levels of self-determination? As you can see here, it's a balance. Students need to develop self-determination skills in an environment that fosters independence and opportunities to engage in those self-determination skills. Teachers can support this by knowing where the student's self-determination's abilities lie. They can reinforce using those skills, stretch them on those skills, and be a model for growth, while also giving them the opportunities. So it's a balance between the student competence and the environment that we, as the people who care about these people who need to grow in their self-determination, it means giving them opportunities to engage in it and modeling and teaching those skills. Now, about that student-led IEP meeting. Participating in the IEP meeting is a great opportunity for students to practice those self-determination skills. What is a student-led IEP? Well, it's not just one thing. It's simply encouraging students to play a larger role in developing and implementing their IEP. What it does is it shifts the focus from being adult-centered and others-centered to being more student-centered and bringing light upon the student's strengths and the student's needs. Clearly, there are many benefits in allowing the student to take a greater role in IEP development and the meeting. Can you name some? Here's a quick list. It's difficult to disagree with any of these. And ultimately, the research shows that these students are more likely to earn a higher income 1 year after graduation because they're more likely to be employed or more likely to attend and complete college. So this is a doable example of a student-led IEP. First semester, students can be supported in learning about themselves, building that self-knowledge and that self-awareness. Self-advocacy is a significant tool that all students who have disabilities need to learn and is even more critical for those with an IEP. So I'm always happy to work with IEP teams to develop strategies to help learners make and take on more of an active role with their IEP. At the start of each new school year, the students should create a PowerPoint or another visual with the assistance of their parents to share with teachers and staff that they will come into contact with throughout the school year. Getting ahead of the game here at the beginning of the school year, helping the student know who they are, is about making it best for the student so that they are on the right foot and they don't experience failure or experience discouragement from the beginning. It doesn't have to be focused on just the IEP. But we do need to build these skills as they approach their annual IEP review. Using the undetermined one-pager is an option for creating a visual where the students can share their preferences and needs related to their education and their disability if appropriate. During the first semester, have the students work on goal setting and evaluation skills. Now that they've identified their interests and strengths and their needs and challenges, they can work on the goal setting and evaluation. Ideally, the student will prepare for the IEP meeting with a good day plan and an IEP goal in collaboration with the case manager. When the annual IEP meeting is held, the student will make introductions to the IEP team members, share IEP goal progress, and share on the new IEP goal they want to obtain personally by the next annual IEP meeting. Of course, you're going to differentiate this for different students. Sometimes our brains go straight to, well, I have students that can't do that. But we want to have a can-do attitude, and we can adapt and support our learners so that they can make some progress in these areas. Upon completion of the IEP, the students will be much more motivated to give each adult who works with them the information they need about themselves. They can share their testing accommodations, their classroom accommodations or modifications, and answer questions that the adults might have. Think about this. Creating self-advocacy goals can allow students to become more involved in their education and give them a better sense of what their school needs. So I'm wondering, how many of your students or your friends or people that you support have self-determination goals written into the IEP? Incorporating self-advocacy goals into the student's IEP is vital. It empowers students to take an active role in their education, fosters independence and self-confidence. It also helps them to communicate their needs effectively when sharing with teachers and peers and family members. So, as special educators or professionals in the world of supporting people with disabilities, we do hear the fuss of the student-led IEP. And we all acknowledge the value of having students participate in that meeting. But what skills do they need? We don't ask them to take a math test without any instruction, so why would we ask them to contribute to the IEP in a productive, self-determined way if we don't prepare them first? And if we want students to become more self-reliant, they need to have a self-determination goal in the IEP. If we want students to participate in the IEP process, they need to have a self-determination. If a child has a behavior plan as a part of their IEP, then it's absolutely necessary that they have self-determination or self-advocacy goals. Here are some sample goals. What do you notice about them? Hopefully you notice that they're written in first person. Yes, I'm back to that. Is there any reason not to allow students to own their goals? No. A student, especially one with a transition plan and someone who's working on self-determination, can write their own goals with the support and guidance of the IEP team. Now, you probably want some resources, and this is really where this is all going. Have you ever thought about focusing the self-determination and student-led aspect of the transition plan specifically? Let's consider how the SDLMI incorporates a skill. Self-determined learning model of instruction, that is, and this is a very important resource for you, especially if you're helping a student with their transition plan or actually transitioning. The SDMLI focuses on student-driven considerations in the process. It comes with a manual for the teacher or other staff, even a family member, to facilitate the process of goal setting and the process and all the self-determination surrounding meeting that goal and moving on from there. Let's look at some SDLMI options as people enter their transition years and even after. So the SDLMI has a process and a manual for leading students to set goals related to their career or readiness skills. The 3 phases to the self-determined learning model of instruction are First, setting a goal, where the teacher enables the student to identify and set a goal to solve the problem. What is my goal? Then, to take action, what's the plan? The teacher enables the student to develop an action plan to achieve the goal. They work on self-monitoring process to solve the problem. Then, in the final stage, the teacher enables the student to determine if they achieved the goal. The student determines if they need to set a new goal or change the goal to develop a new action plan. No more keep trying the same thing that doesn't work. We're working on some real problem solvers here, and to think about what they learned from the process. So, a new added manual guides students in honing their self-determined skills to consider career and job goals and work through the process with support from others. So you can start with the standard self-determined learning model of instruction just to learn how to set a goal. But if a person is ready to think about their future and they want to grow in more independent skill use, they can start asking themselves, what are my career goals? What is my plan? And what have I achieved? Eventually, the students will exit their IDEA services or their special education services, and we want them to be able to go into life where they can take agency. Hopefully now you've got some ideas about how to work through the year to work on and give opportunities for students to grow in self-determined behavior, to give the students opportunities to participate in their IEP, and then thinking about how they will be creating and running their own transition plan. Let's look at these resources. There are 2 links for you here. One is a website that I created that contains the SDLMI manuals, the I'm Determined app that has the About Me and the Good Day plan and the Setting the Goal plan. So you look there and you're going to access all of that information, the links, the materials. And you also have an instruction video that you can watch that shows you how to use that web page and navigate it. So it's all right there for you. I hope you'll check it out and use it to your advantage. I really hope that you'll think about including self-determination goals as a goal in your students' IEP. Have students who are in transition planning phase write their own transition plan goals, write a self-determination goal. Use first-person language, recognizing that it's their goal they're writing into the IEP. We have to really think about how we can incorporate self-determination supports, whether it's opportunity or modeling and teaching within the day-to-day activities for these students. Time is limited, but at the same time, we have no time to waste. So let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to help you. I'm here for you, and I thank you for your time. Bye-bye.